I am going to also slide us over into our painting because we're going to definitely keep talking while I paint. But I don't want to get too lost in the sauce here. Let's see, this is where I want to be. Let me put our little cat cam on with Figuroni. I might turn the seaweed thing off when we have Figuroni or cat cam in general on. So I feel like it can be a bit much. And I did put the task list. We're going to be painting, so I'm not really doing co-working, but I thought for all of you, if you were co-working or doing something alongside, it might be nice. So I put them there. You can use them. You don't have to use them. Whatever you want. It's up to you. Super fun, and the art is cute too. Very delightful Neopets nostalgia, easy to play, and the RNG of the dice rolls. Cute. I don't know what happened, but one of my new neighbors has a greyhound. Oh, I love them. I haven't met them yet, but they were wearing a pink collar and zoom in, and the human behind them was shouting, "No, slow, you're supposed to be retired." That's so funny. Either though you're supposed to be retired is so cute. Hi, Crafty, welcome on in. The lighting is definitely making it so y'all can't see the lines. Not even if I bring it close. RIP. Because it's so bright in here. Let me see. Maybe if I turn the brightness of my lights down, but then that might not be. I don't know, we'll test it. We'll see what we can do here. The bright daytime sun has come in. I fear that's no lights. Y'all still can't see them very much. You can see them a little. I mean, it'll come through once I start painting, but opening for this. Sorry for the plastic crinkle ASMR. Finn wants the zoom too. Oh, that'll be so cute. I loved the picture you shared in the Discord this morning of the baby and his old friend. Like tragic but also adorable. I've been big into these paint by numbers lately, y'all. I'm currently on my own working on a set of mini canvases. Here, let me show you. Let me show you. So this is like the design of the mini canvas, which is so cute with the little cat and the lily pads. Very Studio Ghibli core, in my opinion. And because I'm not always the best at finishing projects, I made myself do these two that are more plain first before I do the cats because I know I will definitely want to do the cat ones. So I've done this one, which is this one. I did that with my Whimsy friends on Sunday last week, and I'm partway done with the other lily pad one. And those I've been working on my own, and we're gonna work on the duck together. This is the reference in case you're curious. So anytime people have tried to come at me thinking Nina was abused or forced to run, I'm like, so you've never met a greyhound IRL. Got it. Oh no, we can't get into the dog care conversation right now. It's going wild on streamer. I'm just kidding. You can talk about whatever. I just know that there's all the Hassan drama with the dog right now. I will never get over the one lady who was disappointed that I told her Nina hadn't been abused as a former racer. Like, why do you want my dog to have been abused? She loved her life and she was loved. Why? Yeah, that's weird. That's very strange. It's a good thing that people are learning and not mistreating them now. It's so cute. Sometimes we call each other on Discord. We still have a weekly roomy game night, even though we haven't lived together in almost 4 years. That's really precious. And sometimes we'll turn on the cams for the cats to chatter at each other. You're so cute. Oh, thank you, friends. I mean, I can't take too much credit. These are just paint by numbers, so. But I appreciate it nonetheless. The sky would be the most obvious thing to start with, but it's kind of boring, so I probably won't. I probably won't. Let's see. What's the smallest number that's in the not sky part? See quite a bit of 4s and 5s. I bet there's some 3s somewhere, but I don't really see them. Oh, they're kind of in the duck, and I don't really want to. I guess some of the colors that I'm would be working with will still be in the duck, but that's okay. Oh, thank you, friend. I appreciate it. Whatever drama that is, and it's probably for the best. Because I have opinions folks don't want to hear. That's fair. That is totally fair. No, I just think, I mean, there's really no way that we're going to know the answer, unfortunately, in this particular instance. And I won't get too deep into this, but some of you probably don't even have the context. But the truth is, we weren't there. We don't know. We don't know this person. We only have a parasocial understanding of this person. And unfortunately, because he's like a leftist content creator, there's a lot of people out there who, you know, are looking for anything to catch him for being, you know, so like it's I'm hard pressed to trust those people either, so we don't even have reliable narratives on top of, you know, the clip is unclear, we weren't there, we don't know. So, you know. Wait, this is 4, right? Yep. Okay. Y'all are probably not going to be able to see some of these lighter colors, unfortunately. Just because it's so bright in here, but hopefully as I start to do more colors, you'll see more, as we go along. I wish I could make it. What if I shut my window curtain? I feel like that helped a little. Not as much as I would have liked, but super right and valid. The desire to want to catch him also makes me less inclined to take any stock in it. Yeah. There's also just like, you know, hours and hours and hours of footage of this person streaming. They're a full-time big streamer. So I feel like if this was true, there would be more evidence than this one single moment that would have cropped up. The odds that he would never have done that before for all the years he's owned that dog and been a streamer are slim. Oh, rah, rah, rah. Bigaroni is telling Toasty off in the hallway. There you go. On another note, I started reading The Honey Witch, and it's even better than oh yeah, I read The Honey Witch. It's good. It's a little it reads a little like maybe that is like not how do I say? Like it reads a little like a debut author. I don't know if she was. Where you can tell there's some work to do in terms of like story, like world building and stuff, but the content is so good it's kind of like I don't even care. But I'm like I'm fine with it. It's a really enjoyable, easy read, and I love that. I'm also loving the Victorian aesthetic with lots of unapologetically gay characters. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. I think if you're a heavy fantasy reader, you might find that the world building won't provide you with all the answers that you might be looking for. I know Toasty, when they were reading it, they liked it, but they were like, wait, are they ever going to explain that? No, I guess not. And I was like, listen, we're not in it for the advanced world building here. We're in it for the cute, gay fantasy world. You have to temper your expectations. I feel like this color is a hard color to get the coverage I need to cover the numbers, so he might be a second coat color, unfortunately. It's like a really paley peach I'm working with right now. Midnight Sun, which is something, but I'm having a good time. Fair. Hi, Tug. Happy time zone. How are you? How you doing, pal? This is actually a pretty accessible paint by number. Some of the other ones I'm doing, those little canvas ones I'm doing, are so tiny sometimes because I don't have like super shaky hands, but depending on the day, I can have a little trouble with shaky hands. And oof, some of those test my dexterity. I kind of feel like painting is a good, like, almost like a good OT exercise for my hands, though. Um, I don't know if that's actually true, but it feels like it. The control you have to get the little details. Sleepy but doing okay. Taking notes of cozy sapphic romances for the bestie. Has decided that that's his favorite new genre. That's my favorite genre too, honestly. Love me a good sapphic read. I was in a reading slump for quite a while there. After being in a huge reading uptick this year. Um, because I just kept picking up and then DNFing books, which I kind of don't DNF books that often, although I think I'm getting a little more brave with it, but I just had two books in a row that I was like, I just cannot do this. The first one was way too dark. It was dystopian, which I did expect, but I I don't there was TW, but there was there was a dead child within the first chapter, and I was like, it's giving like Hunger Games, but way less. Not that Hunger Games is tame, but I guess like the realism of it was more intense in the book that I picked. I was like, the world's too much right now for me to be reading that at this moment, for me personally. And then the second book, I actually got about 40% of the way through, and I wouldn't even say that one was bad. It was really good. It was a sapphic fantasy. It just had way too many perspectives for me personally. I was in the first book. It's like a series, and I think there had already been like 7 or 8 different perspectives, and I got very whelmed trying to remember all the characters and their motivations and like, so I couldn't do that. Ready to talk about books? Hi, Milam. Very cottagecore so far, and shout out to the books having content warnings. I'm at the beginning. I'm deeply appreciative of them. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think there can be a little bit of an element of somehow our brains are weird, and I feel like sometimes there can be an element of like healing or coping in reading a dark book during a dark time, but sometimes it's also like, okay, the world is already a lot, and I don't need my media when I'm trying to relax to also be a lot. um, so it can depend on what sort of mood I'm in, and it was just a bit much for me at this current moment in time. So I DNF'd both of those. And I was just having a hard time figuring out what to pick up next because I just really wanted it to be something successful. And so then I started reading a memoir with Toasty from one of the most famous Survivor players. She recently put out a book. Um, if you're a Survivor player, her name is Parvati. You probably know, or Survivor player, Survivor watcher. Um, she recently put out a book, and it's very interesting. She grew up in a cult. I won't give away too much or anything like that. This is like in the description, so I feel like this is not too much. But she grew up in a cult, so she talks about that experience and how that shaped her, and she talks about all of her runs on Survivor and what she thought of them, what people thought of her, how it affected her. Um, she talks about her relationships and wanting to be a mom, and yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. And I feel like a memoir was a good pickup after a reading slump because I don't really have to keep track of like characters or anything like that. It's very like mentally light in that regard. There's like heaviness to some of her stories, but um very achievable read. So that's been nice. And also reading a story with like the same book with Toast is always kind of a hoot. All the ones I started in 2020, who knows why. I read a really geeky essay the other day. I'd forgotten I had it and I was tickled. The foreword was by Marisha Ray. Picked this up before I started watching Critical Role. Two writers I'd been avidly reading at the time. And the cover was by an artist who wound up doing my still fave variant cover for my first comic. So I had to dive in. That's kind of like that thing that Toast was saying about how small the world can be. So much overlap. So cool. Yeah, it does depend on the mood. Hi BB, welcome in. How you holding up today, friend? Soft DNF'd a book recently just for vibes. I wanted to be more than it was. I was enjoying it, but not as much as I thought. And that's perfectly okay. I had a book, was it last year or earlier this year? I can't remember. It was my first book I had DNF'd since getting back into reading. And it was interesting because I just felt like the characters felt like caricatures instead of real people. It felt almost like um the characters were built like kind of off stereotypes. It just didn't feel like real people talking. It felt like an odd script of someone trying to imitate the personality of someone else. And I was bummed because it was like a cute sapphic description, but I could not for the life of me get into it because some of the things they would say, I was like, no one's gonna say that. Actually, you know what? Let me say we're 18 plus now, so I can tell you the example. But just as a heads up, it is a very 18 plus example. These two girls were meeting and they clearly like had a little bit of a crush on each other. And the one was being kind of horny, which is fine. I don't mind. But she said that the girl, who she barely knew, by the way, made her clit flutter. And I was like, I can't. It, no one's saying that. Hello, my love. And I was like, I feel like this feels like a straight person tried to write a lesbian character, but no, absolutely not. No, 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 no. And that was just like one example. There was other examples too, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Always accidentally DNF books. Oh no, Gabby, like you get distracted from them and don't finish. Maybe you would like the Parv memoir. It was really interesting hearing what was going on in her life during times she was playing Survivor that she kind of had to put away and not focus on while she was there. Hi Spring, welcome in. I saw that BB that you might be able to get in for the surgery. Obviously a little stressful, but good that you don't have to wait. I think I'm going to have wisdom teeth surgery soon cuz I've told y'all the tooth I think it's impacted is starting to become a problem, so hold me accountable, chat room. Next week, I need to call the dentist. Next week, you gotta yell at me if every time that you see me streaming. Have you called the dentist yet? Except not Monday, because I won't have had a chance yet, but Wednesday and Friday. Be like, did you go to the dentist? I need external accountability because I don't want to do it and I'm avoiding. But it's getting worse and I need to before it's a problem. Especially because it might take time for me to get booked in too, so. And you know what's wild, Steph? I looked up the author. It's not a man. But it did feel like something a man would say. I was surprised that it wasn't. I don't know how that would happen. It wouldn't. It wouldn't. Yes, Gabby, you'll have to let me know what you think. I'm like 70% of the way through so far. Yeah, it's not that bad now, but I know it can get really bad, so I'm trying to tackle it before I'm in a bad spot. I just had surgery so recently that I have a zero desire to have to take a break from stream again, recover, not be able to eat things, you know, be in pain. And also dry socket scares the crapola out of me. I do not want that to happen. But I need to buckle up and get some courage because the last thing I need is for it to get infected or anything, and then it's way worse, so. Made me snort out loud in the airport, by the way. Real. Is asexual and just never had feelings anymore. It feels like being catfish. I've seen a few writers who are like, are you a guy? And it was a female profile picture. I don't know, felt sus. It's possible. It's also very possible for the person to be just a woman who's never been in a queer relationship trying to write a queer relationship. I don't know. I don't know that person well enough to know if they're queer or not. It could also just be like a beginner author thing, trying to find like a unique way to describe things, and then it just kind of goes a little sideways when you try to get too creative with it. If that makes sense. Sometimes the basics really do work, you know. Maybe they were going for like more of a traditional romance also, because I do know some like regular romance stuff that like has that kind of energy. It's very like sexual in nature and kind of cheesy, campy almost. I'm not a writer, but I'd encourage anyone writing a book to get multiple folks to read and give feedback on your book, even if you're self-publishing. Yeah, I agree. Just for the sake of not just like grammatical and making sense and stuff, but like also the more people with different perspectives and like life experiences you can have read it, the more that like you're probably going to be able to point out those things that are going to turn people off because it doesn't feel accurate. Because obviously you're usually writing characters who are maybe, you know, bits and pieces of them are inspired by you, but you want to have a diverse cast in your book, and so there might be people who have a very different lived experience than you that you're trying to represent as well, and making sure those representations are accurate is importante. And if it's in the budget, there are people who do sensitivity reading specifically. That's like their work and their line of expertise as well. Talk about genre fiction because it looks like I'm unable to read it. I always pick nonfiction or literary fiction because I like my books written with a certain care for words and theme. But why not put witches in it? Fair. Fair, fair, fair. They're so lovely and so important. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes it's like Like, I was watching Project Runway recently, and this guy who went home, it's like a old season, so don't worry. The guy who went home, a big reason that he went home was essentially that he couldn't really seem to take a step back. He got really caught up in the super fine details. And so when you took a step back and you looked at the whole collection as like a unit, I guess, for lack of a better term, they were all far too similar. But like, because he was so caught up in the details, he really never stepped away and looked at it from a wider perspective. And his teammates tried to tell him at certain points, like, hey, like, you know, we should like modify this. But he was so attached to the original vision that he would not for the life of him listen. He would literally come, they would sew something and he would come up behind them and snip it out of the garment because he wanted it to be a certain way. And he did wind up going home, and I will give him credit. Whenever there's a team challenge, they will ask the contestants who from their group they think should go home. And he was the leader, and obviously he was causing all those problems that I just mentioned. And I will give him credit that he said that he should go home. He was like, I'm the leader, I should take credit for it. They tried to tell me, I didn't listen, which I was pleasantly surprised to see him take that level of accountability. And they did, in fact, send him home. So it's okay, I didn't really like his garments, anyways, but. Around. I don't know if you heard Figuroni or if you just heard me, but he yelled at me first, I promise. I'm not just randomly meowing into the microphone. I swear. Mm-hmm. What's up? What's up, Buttercup? Why you yelling at me? What's your problem? I will soapbox about our editors and sensitivity reader team and our letterer too, because she does soft edits on visuals and stuff. Sometimes at the drop of a hat, how folks go through with publishing, especially self publishing, without a team of folks who want your work to be the best it can and are often your biggest cheerleader legitimately baffles me. Even if no one I know had my back on a project, I know they do, you know? Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes people just don't have folks in their corner willing to do, that labor of reviewing the book and giving feedback. And if you don't have the funding to pay for a sensitivity reader, I could see how that can become a problem. But I don't know. I think I would still be like looking for maybe like a grant or something like that so that I could have at least one person reviewing my book, at least. Skedaddle for my flight. Fly safe, friend. I don't know what you're up to, but be safe. I hope you have a good time. Take care. Thanks for hanging. This is my beloved paint cup. You can see he's been through the ringer. Through the ringer. He's like a cast iron. He doesn't get cleaned. He has all my old project paint. There. The task list, that's from Super Sweetbot. If you do !sweet in the chat, it's a task list for you all to use if you want to co-work alongside us while we're doing some painting. You just do !task and then a space, and then you type what you are working on, and then When you're done with it, you type exclamation point done. I should have got the bigger brush, actually, I think, here. I'm always scared of using the bigger brush, but he has his uses, so I need not be scared. Just be brave. Time for me to go to work. I hope you have an amazing stream. Happy painting. Thank you, friend. Thank you, thank you. Have a good day at work. Thank you for popping by. Sorry you got a skedaddle. So I told you all that I was going to the in-laws this weekend. Probably just hanging out with Toast Mom because it's her birthday. You know, doing some board games, some reading. Whatever. Pretty calm, pretty chill. What do you all have planned for your weekend, chat room? Anything fun? I know, Puppo, you're gonna get your bookshelves, which is exciting. Oh, also, next week my goal is to send out the goodies from the debut. Not the ceramics per se. I'm gonna get the ceramic addresses to Herbivore, but she'll need some time to send them out. But get those to her, and then any of like the stickers and things like that, I'll try to send those y'all's way. And I'm gonna try to update our action command next week because I know I didn't get him updated this week. I was surviving this week. We were going for get through the week, have a couple of streams. If you did that, then you were good. But I will try to get that updated next week. I think my brother planned for a farming festival, in particular, a theater performance based on Prometheus myth. Oh, I've never heard of that before, but that sounds cool. Sounds fun. I'm very intrigued to see how this visit feels different because it'll be the first time we're visiting the in laws where Toast Dad won't be there. It's part of the reason we're going, actually, is because it's Toast Mom's birthday, and he has to be out of town for work. He travels a lot for his job, like out of the country. I think he's gonna be in Germany this time, but mostly he goes to Japan, because that's where most of his company is based out of. But he was like, I don't really want to leave her alone on her birthday. What are the odds that you wanted to come visit next week? We were like, sure. So that'll be interesting. It'll be nice, I think, in the sense that Toast Dad sometimes takes over the TV, and sometimes we want to like watch things late at night. And he, hi Batman, welcome in. How are you? He is kind of like I think he also has ADHD, not diagnosed, but he gives that same energy. And genetically, that would make sense given Toasty's ADHD too. But one of the ways I kind of see that come out in him is he does not want to go to bed until he's had his particular YouTube relaxing time, watching his little like car or dog videos that he likes. And so we just never really get any alone time when we're there, except for when we're like in our set bedroom. But then a lot of times we can't be loud in there, or like really even talk full volume because Toast Mom goes to bed pretty early. And so it just like never really works out where we get a lot of alone time because he will sit and wait until we go to bed. No matter how late we stay up, he'll sit there. He'll even fall asleep in his chair and wait for us to go to bed. And then when we go to bed, he turns on his little YouTube. It's like he can't. It's his. I think it's like his kind of routine or ritual, which is fair. But sometimes, you just want to be able to talk openly and not like with someone there. And sometimes we just want to chill and watch the TV and we feel like that we're like holding him up, if that makes sense. So that'll be nice because she'll go to bed early and we'll have more of our own time in the house, just us two. But at the same time, she can be a lot. She's like my mom in that way. And she's not going to have him to entertain her. And also, he does a lot of the stuff for us. Like, he goes and gets the food a lot. Um, so I think we are going to have to be the drivers, the runners, more so now. So that'll be different. We've got Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend. Oh yeah, my friend Kale was talking about that. She's also Canadian. Hoping to have some family over for that, but my son has a wicked cold and I'm hoping it doesn't spread. Yeah. I don't know how old he is, if he can wear a mask or not. I know that with kids it's tricky though, because that could always help. Obviously, while he's eating, he can't, but I wish you the best of luck. Never want to get sick, I get that. He says, my show is on. I know. Truly. I'm like, sir, we come here like once every like 4 months. You can't miss your show once? No. The answer is no, he cannot, it seems. Not that we've ever asked him, but we've been getting them into finally playing board games, which is nice. Because before we used to invite them all the time and they never would take us up on it. And it's just hard because we don't really do any of the same things as them. We don't have like similar hobbies. And so it was hard because a lot of times we felt like we went there because Toast Mom wanted us to visit. But then when we're there, we feel like we're not really doing anything together other than eating. Sometimes we'll watch like series together. I think this time we might show her Building the Band because she used to watch the old version of the show, and this last season was really good. It produced a lot of successful bands. So I think we might show her that, and that'll be nice. But the board games just give us something to do with it. We have to keep the board games simple though. Has to be easy to understand instructions, I think. Catan's a big fave. We do. Yeah. Sterilizer, part of the HVAC and a high quality filter. Another thing that you might not be able to get your hands on this time, but could be helpful is some of the nasal spray. The one that I know of is called Covixel, but there's different brands, and I know there's probably different stuff in Canada than there is in the US. But it helps reduce the viral load. And he might not like it, especially sensory wise, when you spray it in his nose, but it's like a one and done type of situation. And it would protect a little bit better. You could also have your guests use it if that was easier than trying to get the autistic kiddo to use it, but ideally both, but you can only do so much. But yeah, what you have going on is good too. Helping with the air filtration and whatnot. It's definitely difficult because we're getting to that time of year where opening your windows when you have guests is a little harder because it's getting too cold. I feel like it was such a wild dip in um temperatures. Like we went from it was still peaking in the 80s the last like month, even though it was like 60, 70, 80, 80, 80, 60, 60. Like it was bouncing, but we were still peaking in the 80s Fahrenheit for my friends who are elsewhere. But then this week, all of a sudden, it was like we're not anywhere above 60. We haven't been able to even hit 70. Codexel. I think that's how you spell it. Actually, let me check. I can just Google it. Yeah, okay. It's a nasal spray. But like I said, there's other brands too, so. It's not terrible, but it's not the most pleasant sensation. But Toasty and I used that paired with masking, and we've been together for 4 years through the pandemic, and we haven't been sick at all, except for the one time that Toasty caught COVID. So I would say it's been pretty successful for us. Paired with our masking and vaccines. Hi, Sai. Yay! So we're doing a little duck painting. How are you? Happy time zone. This color is a lot easier than the last color. The last color was just did not have very good coverage. One of the only things I find annoying about paint by numbers is that no matter how hard I feel like I look, I always find some spot that I missed and have to go back to the colors that I did before. Like my eyeballs, they fail me. Like I see a 4 here and we just did 4. I see 2 4s. B. Come on. It's okay. It's not that deep. I'm being dramatic and silly. Yeah. It's huge. It's not ideally used just on its own, but, you know, whatever combo you can use it with, with masking and vaccines is ideal, but even if it is on its own, it still helps with the viral load. We use it especially if we're in any kind of super spreader populated areas, um, or if for some reason we're going to have our mask off, like swimming. We use it whenever we go swimming, before and after. No worries, Sai. You're all good. Enjoy your work. We got some co-worky bot going because I figured there would be some folks who were co-working while we paint, so that sounds perfect. I hope you have a nice little productive time zone. Right. I feel like I got the 5s in this lower section, but I thought I had the 4s, and I clearly did not, so now I have trust issues. Oh, we were talking about um gymnastics earlier. Interesting gymnastics news. Um some may say drama, I don't know. The World's Championships is being held in Indonesia, and um they were really struggling with getting a host. For context, I think that is important context to this story. So Indonesia stepped up to host it, and they just recently, just a few weeks before the event, announced that they would be revoking the Israeli passports of the Israeli athletes because in Indonesia they are very pro Palestine, as they should be. Um, and of course, I agree with that, but there are inevitably a lot of people in sports world specifically who have this perception of like sports should bring us together, not apart. Everyone deserves to participate. It's not their fault that they were, that they're in that country, etc., etc. The nonsense. The Russians do the same thing. Like the Russians were actually banned from participating the last couple of years, and they just now allowed back as technically they're considered like independent athletes, separate from. It just feels like like a loophole, really, because they still represent. Most people still consider them to represent Russia, but technically, I guess they're like independent athletes. I don't really know. They're not supposed to be able to have any direct tie to their, like the politics of their country, but one of the girls literally ran for office at one point. It was a small office, but still. So I don't know how well that's actually being maintained. But yeah, so Indonesia does not recognize Israel as a valid country, as a valid state or entity. And so they revoked their passports, their visas. And everyone thought that the international FIG, the International Organization for Gymnastics, was going to be mad at them because they originally told them that they would have a way for those athletes to participate. But FIG made their statement this morning, and y'all, they did not seem to care at all, which, fine by me. I don't really think they should. But let me see if I can find it and read you the statement. Hold on one second. Oh, right there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it too quickly, but oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, it wasn't too bad. So their statement, literally all they said was, the FIG takes note of the Indonesian government's decision to not issue visas to the Israeli delegation registered for the 53rd FIG Artistic Gymnastics, which is being held in Jakarta from October 19th to the 25th, and recognizes the challenges that the host country has faced in organizing this event. The FIG hopes that an environment will be created soon as possible where athletes around the world can enjoy sports safely and peace of mind. So they didn't really, like, a lot of people were like, that seems actually very in support of Indonesia, which again I think is a good thing, to be very clear. But and people are kind of speculating as to why they wouldn't be mad at Indonesia for blocking some of these athletes from participating. And the overall consensus is that it's partially because they had such a hard time finding a host that Indonesia kind of did them a solid by being willing to host. And they still don't really have a solution to the fact that they don't have very many countries willing to host the event. And so they probably don't want to burn a bridge with Indonesia because they might need them to host it again as well. So it's very interesting, to say the least. I'm not mad about it. I think if the Russian girls were banned from participating, the Israeli people should also, considering it's a very similar situation, um, arguably even worse, I feel like. But, you know. Sip, sip, save. Good reminder. I haven't been very good about my water intake this morning. Should I be doing homework? Yes, but diamond painting real. I have a diamond painting I picked up too, actually, but I haven't started him. Takes a little bit more. Do you put your diamond gems when you're doing a diamond painting, um, Erin, into like something separate than what they come in, or do you leave them in the bags? Because I feel like the bags are often kind of hard to maneuver and don't always like have like a closure capacity once you've opened them. So we have like these little containers. I think they're technically like fishing gear containers. I don't know, they're like little compartments. And then we usually put them in there and label them. So it takes a little like prep work when I start a gem painting. I've also had one too many times where I tried to get them out of the bag and then I spilt them on the floor. There's a gem painting in my house that's like half done that I haven't touched because I dropped one of the bags on the floor and now it has like cat hair and stuff inside of it, and it made me grumpy enough at one point that I was like, I just can't be arsed now. It's been so long that I haven't touched it, so to see if I ever get back to him. You doing some puzzles? I love that. Josie and I have been saying we need to get back into our puzzle era because we actually have a couple of really nice puzzles. We have one that was custom made of Junie and Fig. I got Toasty one for their birthday that's like a special, it's like a edge piece only puzzle. It's gorgeous artwork. Oh, you have not been in a big puzzle era. Also, hi Shan, welcome on in. I am gonna go to the bathroom really quick, chat room. So I will BRB, stretch, take your meds, hydrate, check in with yourselves, and I will be right back. Burp to burp. Alright, hello gamers. I'm back. Whoa, 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 not me doing that. Okay. Thankfully, that did not splatter. It's getting a little dark in here, so I'm gonna try turning my lights back on, make sure. As long as it doesn't blow out the picture for y'all. Let's see. Keep them low. There we go. One of the things that we did not consider when we got into pin making was how many of those tiny little bags we'd have left over, and dang, fair. Fair. Alright. I just dipped this in, but I'm pretty sure actually I already did all the 5s, so I don't know why I did that. I forgot that I had already checked. I'm gonna do one more scan. See if I can find any more so I don't waste. I'm sure I'll find some later when I'm not looking for 5s. Because that's just pretty much how it goes with paint by number. When you're not looking for it, that's when it will pop out at you. Okay, next color. Let's see where we're at. 6, dark brown. TikTok audio stuck in my head now because I was watching TikToks. Actually saw a funny TikTok. Do y'all know the well, if you're not on TikTok, you might not, but the TikTok creator Jules, who created the very mindful, very cutesy, very demure. Probably at least heard that phrase, I'm assuming most of you. She made such a funny TikTok today. She was like, I have something to get off my chest, y'all. Something I never brought up, but I want to share now. Which is that when my thing blew up, the phrase, I got a lot of offers for collaborations, free products, PR, etc. And she was like, one of the ones that I was sent was from Stouffer's. If you're not in the US, I don't know if they're an international company. Stouffer's creates like predominantly like frozen lasagnas, but they also do other things. And apparently they sent her like a massive box of Stouffer's mac and cheese. And she said her neighbors, couldn't believe this, her neighbors stole it. They stole the package and then wouldn't admit it, even though she could see them throwing away the boxes into the communal trash. She saw the Stouffer's boxes, and she could smell them cooking the Stouffer's mac and cheese next door. That is diabolical. To steal someone's package, their gift, deny it, cook it when you live close enough where they can smell what you're cooking, and throw away the boxes into a trash that they can see. That's just goofy to me. And it's like illegal to open people's mail. Not that she's probably gonna sue over Stouffer's mac and cheese, but she made the post and Stouffer's commented. They said that was not very cutesy, not very mindful, not very demure. Do you have new neighbors? Can we try again? I thought that was cute. See, I told you I was gonna find 5s after I... why am I like this? The second I stop looking for the number. Evil mastermind, truly. Crimes. She thankfully responded, yes, I have new neighbors. Actually, no, she said, I own the building now, which, casual little flex. Oh no! Oh no! I have a Junie hair. Threatening to spread paint where it doesn't belong. Actually, it already did spread paint where it doesn't belong. R.I.P. Junie. Causing me problems and you're not even in here. I don't even have the door open. Problem with doing crafts with pets. Which I'm sure some of you can relate to. Seems to be doing all right. She has posted a little bit about some of the struggles with, like, she sort of had a lot of people in her life in tough situations that she cared about. And when she got viral for that, obviously she came into a lot more opportunities than she previously had, even though she is a decent sized content creator. But, you know, being a trans woman, being plus size on the internet, it's not for the faint of heart. Being a person of color, like, she just deals with a lot of ish, and so she's talked a little bit about the struggles of, like, when she went viral, a lot of the money and things that she got her hands on had to go towards, like, opportunities wise, had to go towards people in her life who needed help. And she kind of said that she sort of forgot to invest in herself during that journey as much as she should have. Like, a lot of people were asking her, like, oh, like, you obviously made some money from the whole, like, mindful, demure, cutesy, whatever. Um, how come you haven't done X, Y, and Z surgery for your transition? And that's when she kind of explained, like, that a lot of the money went towards her family and her friends and trying to, like, help them. Um, she is getting, I think, one of the surgeries, I forget which one she mentioned, for herself, and she was able to buy the property that she lives in and stuff. So it's not like she wasn't able to do anything, but it wasn't as fruitful in terms of taking care of herself as it should have been. And I know it was a bit tumultuous for her too, because when it all happened, this woman tried to start selling merch with it on there and tried to trademark it before Jules could. And Jules obviously just said it. She said it just for fun and it happened to go viral. It wasn't like she went viral on purpose. And so she's never had anything like this before, so she didn't know to, like, trademark um it, or that someone was going to try to, like, steal it from up under her. So then she had to, try to get lawyers and all. It was a bit of a cluster, if you would. But um otherwise she seems like she's doing okay. She recently she does a lot of wigs, and it was cute. She just recently got her first curly haired wig. Um and she was like, "Wait, I think I actually kind of like this. I think I'm kind of into this." Because she was like, "I've always been a wig wearer. I'm a trans woman. My hair, it's not as long or whatever as much as I'd like. I like to just be able to do different styles and stuff." But she was like, "I always got, like, straight hair wigs for some reason. Like, that's just what, I don't know. Like, I guess I didn't even really think of it." But she's like, "This is how it grows out of my head. Like, my hair is curly, so I kind of feel like it almost looks more, realistic on me than the straight hair ones." And everybody was hyping her up, being like, "Yes, the curly hair looks so good, cute." Which it did. It looked really good on her. So that was, like, a cute recent moment of hers. Anytime I knit anything, it's a given that Cora's hair gets knitted into it. It's so real. So real. Pet parent strugs. I would have thought this color would have good coverage because it's like a darker color, but low-key it does not. It's kind of splotchy. We'll make do. Every comic or pin I pack and send has either cat fur or hair from some member of our marketing department. Not the barketing. That's funny. Feel like that's all the sixes that I see. But I'm also suspicious. But I don't think this dark brown is much places other than his head, although actually that loops down a little bit. There are 3 dogs between the comic folks and 2 sentient stuffed animals that are allegedly dogs but weigh less than my dice bag. And we include our photos in their email. It's how they pay rent. I know we always a running joke in our house is that when the cats go on cat cam, that's them paying their rent. And when they don't hang out on cat cam for a long time, we tease them. We say, "You haven't even been paying rent around here, and you want treats and food and toys." Now, of course, we still give them all of those things, and they do not have to be in my room for cat cam. I will sometimes try to entice them to take their afternoon nap in my room versus other places, but yeah, at the end of the day, they're cats, not props, so there's only so much to be done. For real, though, people do approach us at conventions. They might not remember us, but they remember the dogs. Wait, that's so cute. It works sometimes. Good marketing strat. All right, we're on 7, which is a green, so we get to move on from browns, which is fun. And there's a lot of 7s, so we'll be here for a second. It's a really nice color. It's like oh my gosh, on the camera it looks so neon. It is not this neon in person. It's bright, but it's not like this. Looks like construction vest yellow on screen. But it's a fun color. I don't know that we will really ever get a dog. There's lots of complicated reasons why. Albeit I might want one, that it isn't necessarily the smartest decision for us. And so, with that in mind, I'm not, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but I was giggling the other day because I always like kind of weird looking dogs. My favorite breeds a lot of times are strange looking little guys. And Toasty's just like, why do you always like the weird ones? And so we've never really agreed too much on dog breeds. I think both of us know at the end of the day that we would get whatever dog we could get, like from a shelter, and that fits our lifestyle. So all of these conversations are like silly hypotheticals, anyways. But a few weeks ago, I said something about wanting um the Target dog breed. Not like, I know I just associate him with Target. We don't even shop at Target anymore, but what are they called again? Something, they're a terrier type. Um Yes, the American Bull Terrier with the little nose. And for the first time ever, when I listed a weird dog, they said, okay. They were like, they were not opposed to my weird dog suggestion. I'm getting there. I'm getting there in my suggestions. They're working. He was a tornado. Yeah, I don't actually know if that type of dog would be a good fit for us. We need like if we were to ever get a dog, number one, it'd have to be something that is like a breed that does okay with cats, which some of that is just temperament of the individual dog. So bear in mind. But and we would also need someone who's a little bit more of a couch potato type dog. Because Toasty already does a lot of the chores. And while I can definitely walk the dog pretty consistently, um, the maintenance and stuff, we don't have like the most bandwidth for too many like big trips like to dog park or anything like that. So it would have to be kind of a sleepy, chill little guy. They have incredible zoomies. My absolute favorite dog breed, purely based off of aesthetics, which I know is not a reason to pick a dog. I would never pick a dog just off of aesthetics, I promise. But my absolute favorite dog breed is Dalmatians. But they are really high energy and really hard to train. So I don't think I would ever actually get one. Um, Although I don't think that Toasty would be into this, but I have in my lifetime, prior to, you know, this relationship and having to consider the dynamics of the cats and all that, considered a Great Dane, because there are spotted Great Danes that have a very similar pattern to Dalmatians, actually. And um, even though they're huge, which is obviously comes with its own challenges, they're usually big heckin' teddy bears. Pretty calm and pretty sleepy, ironically, considering their size. But I do think in this political climate, and given some of Toasty and I's identities, getting a dog is probably not the best idea. I will. I don't think we're moving anytime soon, but because we would have to sell our house, and that adds like a whole other complication. But I think having some level of ease if we needed to move is something that gives me a little bit of security. And cats are already their own ball game with travel and stuff. So I think that a dog would add too much for us to do. And also, to be honest, like maintenance wise, I think Toasty's at like a bit of a cap for how much they can manage for chores and stuff like that. So getting more animals is probably not too wise. But a guy can dream. A guy can dream and have a fantastical imagination about it. I love my Aussie dogs, but I've really fallen in love with the wolfhounds lately. But Finn is turning me on my pity stance too. He's such a goober. Oh yeah, he's cutie. Um, I feel like pitties are actually like a really good fit for more people, but there's like such a stereotype about them, unfortunately. I watch like a lot of foster and dog foster and rescue videos on TikTok. Constantly breaking my heart, falling in love with them, and then they get they move to their foster homes or their family like final homes, which is always good, but always sad. And I'm not even the one who knows the dog. I mean, pitties really only bite and are known for biting because of how many pitties who have been like trained as like fighting dogs and stuff like that. Like if they're trained properly and not abused and not, and taken care of, they don't really bite like that. So that's more the humans mistreating them problem than inherently a them problem. And honestly, I feel like any dog that bites you and truly goes for a bite is just as vicious, not gonna lie. Except for maybe a tiny one, which still gonna hurt and still gonna be bad, but obviously just a smaller bite. I had a chestnut terrier. I think it was just chestnut. No, what is it called? What was his breed? Shoot, why am I forgetting? It was a lab and then I think some kind of shepherd mix. And he was like a chestnut color, like a really nice red brown. He was gorgeous little dog when I was younger. Um, but he turned out to have like neurological issues, and so he was really reactive. Um, so I have had my family has had our fair share of experiences with dog bites. Thankfully, nothing like super permanent for anybody, but he was a very confusing dog to try to have and train because his body signals, like you like watch a dog, you usually base how you interact with them on the communication that they're giving you. And a lot of times that communication for a dog is nonverbal. It's more their body, their eyes. It's not always like barks and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if it was because of his neurological issues or what, but he would give such confusing mixed signals. So it was really hard to know how to engage with him and what he wanted and what he didn't want. So I distinctly remember one time him being like on his hind legs, wagging his tail, seemingly seeking pets. Like if you didn't know this one last piece I'm gonna tell you, it seemed like he wanted pets and love. He's wagging his tail, he's jumped up on ya, looking like for love, you think. Tell me why. He was also at the same time growling like he wanted to bite us. I think this is an error in this. They like didn't put a dividing line, so one chunk in this paint by number has it's a continuous chunk and it has a 7 and then it has a 9. And it can't be both. So I guess for mine it's just gonna be a 7. Weird. I didn't realize till I'd already gotten to the other side or I would have um split it in half. Hi Mika. Mika, you're getting so close to 100 happy flaps. Let's heck and go. I hope you're doing good. Welcome on in. I always knew they weren't what people said. My aunt had two. Um, my aunt had two who I swear might be Finn's clones, but the biggest shock was that he just had no thoughts and is comparatively to some of the other dogs I've had. just not super smart with love. Pitties are so odd because they really don't have more bite strength comparatively. It's really all people and the way they're trained and treated. I spent a lot of time making sure I could get my hand in Finn's mouth, that if there was something that he would drop it on command. I had a schnauzer like that. Poor dog was so anxious. She had to have come from a puppy mill. Sometimes the physical sign of excitement in a dog can also signal overstimulation. So nervousness, yeah. It was a really unfortunate situation because really just like my family never should have had dogs. There's too many people in my family who were dealing with alcohol problems, addiction problems, and respectfully, like when you're not sober, especially, you don't have a good sense of like respecting the dog and like paying attention to its boundaries, and the amount of times one of the bad interactions would happen and I would have warned the person who was pestering him like, hey, he's a reactive dog, he's giving you the signs and signals that he does not want you to be doing what you're doing. But because they like, weren't sober, and because I was a kid and so they don't listen to me, um they wouldn't listen, and then they would get bit, and then they'd be like, this dog bites, and I'm like, for real. I'm giving massive side eye. And my dad was also the type that had that really toxic masculine kind of perception around dogs, where I feel like it was like, I don't know, those kinds of guys who think they just need to like get their dog to submit to them, to be submissive to them, instead of like working together. It's kind of how he was, which I did not particularly care for personally. I was like, please. Hi, readers. Welcome on in. Hi, friends. Hello, hello. Hi, gamers. Triyun, let me know if I said that correctly. Welcome on in. Hannah, welcome on in. Glasses, of course, welcome on in. Can we get a shout out for Glasses if we have any mods active? At the moment, I would appreciate that. Ghosty, hello, welcome on in. Nobles, welcome. Hi, friends. Happy time zone. How was your stream? I hope it was good. I'm so sorry. We do have an ad coming in 2 minutes that has been snoozed as many times as he can. So if you get that ad, I do apologize, but welcome on in. Hello. Double raid. What the hecky? Sailor T, hello. Welcome in. Bird, welcome in. I gotta do a little raid and run to work. Oh, thank you so much. I don't have my 2D VTuber on, but he is live now. I just can't use him while I'm painting. So I'll have to catch it sometime with ya. But I hope you have a great day at work. Thank you for the raid. I'm assuming because Sailor T is here that y'all were doing your challenge you've been doing together. I think it was like the alphabet building challenge. I've been following along quietly. Triune or Triworks. Okay, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Welcome on in. Thank you for the follows as well. Yes, the numbers build. Wait, was it letters before? I feel like I thought it was letters before, but I could have made that up in my head. Sailor T, if you also need to raid and run, if you need to go rest and take care of yourself, please do. But if any of you are new here and you don't know me, my name is B. I use they, them pronouns. I am a queer and disabled full-time VTuber here on Twitch. We got our PNG tuber active today because, like I said, we're painting and my model would not know what to do with the top of my head the whole time that I paint. So that's the situation. We're probably going to do some gaming here in a little while, but right now we are doing a duck paint by number. I kind of have some of my paints over the top of the reference, but this is the reference over here of what he's supposed to look like. Obviously, we're pretty far from that, but we're working on it. We'll probably work on it for a couple of streams here and there. But yeah, I hope y'all are having a nice day. Welcome on in. We're just doing some yap and paint, so If that's your cup of tea, if you want to grab your own craft, if you want to game alongside us, if you want to co-work, we do have the co-working bot going, task list. Feel free. Very hungry. Yes, get some food. Thank you so much, friends. Thank you, thank you. Lalila, hello, lovely. Welcome on in. Thank you for the 36 months. Holy guacamole. I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. How are you, friend? How are you doing? And if you've been here and you've just been lurking, no worries. I don't want to make you feel called out or anything. I just like to check in. I hope you're doing okay. Welcome, welcome. Enjoy your sea moats and your sea badge, your little turtle. So cute with your green name. Oh, I moved the paint over here. I was like, where did it go? I will probably leave this over here. It's just a little easier to grab. Where are my sevens? I know there's a bunch of them. I saw them when I was looking for this color earlier. But if you've been here, you know that the second that you start looking for the color, for the number, is when you can't see any of them, actually. That number doesn't exist in your brain anymore. It's like science or something. Take care of yourself, Try. Thank you so much. I would love to see you again if you have the spoons. No worries. Oh, Lalila, I'm so sorry, love. That is really hard, especially when it didn't come from your side. So I'm sure it was a bit of a shock. I mean, I don't know much about the ins and outs of your relationship, of course, but I know it can be hard when you're not the one getting to be in control of the decision and it comes at you like that. I'm sending lots of love your way. I know that's not easy. I think, well, I don't want to give necessarily any advice that isn't helpful, so, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, but I think sometimes, as hard as it can be and as much sense as it doesn't make in the very beginning, that sometimes losing someone in our life in that kind of way is what opens us up for whatever the future holds for us. So it's going to be tough for a while, and you got to let yourself feel all of those feels as much as you need to, but hopefully in the future it leaves some space for you to figure out what you want, what you need, and perhaps make some new friends, some new connections that resonate and work for both of you. And like, I think, it's important not to think about it in any kind of way like a failure. And I'm not saying you did think that, you didn't say anything like that, but sometimes I know with like divorce, society makes you feel that way. And the truth is, people just change and shift over time. And then sometimes it just doesn't work anymore for a number of different reasons. Yeah. Just focus on those basics, friend, like you said. Focus on taking care of yourself the best that you can. Be very gentle with yourself. It's not easy. I would be, if that same thing happened to me, I would be devastated, so I get it. I'm glad that we can even quietly be here with you, and just share some space with you during this time. I feel like there were more sevens, but now, of course, I don't see them. Hmm. Right. I will let myself move on. Oh my goodness. We are being spoiled today. What the heck? I don't have my headphones on, so I didn't hear the alert. Hi, Kanda. Welcome. Hi, Heathen. Hi, Terry. Welcome on in. Hi, friends. Y'all, if you don't already know, which I think most of you do. But if you don't already know, Kanda is our incredibly talented VTuber artist and rigger. So if you haven't already, I definitely recommend showing her some love, giving her a follow. She has a super cozy, very sensory friendly, relaxing space with lots of art, some gaming, some bunnies. If you like bunnies, she has a little bunny cam. Very good vibes over there. Kanda, if you need to raid and run, by the way, if you need to go eat, take care of yourself, please do. But welcome on in. Raiders, if you're new here, I feel like I know a lot of the folks from Kanda's space, but if you're new here and you don't know me, it's good to meet you. My name is B. We are doing some cozy painting today, some painting and yaps. So, similar vibes to what y'all do over there if you need some more coexisting space to be in. Thank you for the Raiders command, friend. Thank you, thank you. No, you're okay, no worries. I'm glad y'all are being productive and whatnot, as you need to. Love you, Kanda. Thank you for the follows, pals. We keep those anonymous, so I won't call you out or anything, but thank you, thank you. I know, Kanda did such a good job. And I can't wait to continue to work together on little extra things we want to add, like positions and outfits and stuff like that in the future. All right. 8. 8 is a nice color. It's like a soft, really, for y'all, it's probably hard to see, but like a really soft sage green. This is honestly one of my favorite colors. It's kind of like the color of my shirt on my model. It's beautiful. Beautiful, if you ask me, and there's a lot of it, so this might be our last color, and then we'll probably slide into some cozy gaming, I think. Would be good. We'll keep working on this next week as well. I'll be lurking and twerking alongside y'all. I hope y'all are having a good, productive day. It's weird because it's a Friday, but for some reason, to me, it feels like a Monday. But it's literally like the opposite of that. I think just because my schedule was a little wonky this week, I streamed Monday, Thursday, Friday instead of my normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That everything feels a little funky. I got heckled. Yes. We do love our mods. I appreciate our mods very much. We have a good little mod squad who takes care of me and us. Is very kind of them. The cord is. This is why I didn't have them on earlier. Trying to get in my way. I actually switched to really basic little in-ear headphones recently because I had really nice over-the-ear headphones and I still like them. It's actually not a diss on my headphones at all. I would honestly recommend them if someone asked, but I just like don't do super well with pressure on my head. I realized like I have to wear really thin metal frame glasses. Even like plastic glasses. I actually have the pair right here. I got these last. They're super dusty, okay, so don't judge me. I haven't worn them in ages. Which is sad because I like them, but I got these and I thought these would be fine. Like, they seem pretty light, you would think. But even these gave me a headache, which is kind of wild. So now I have to have purely wireframe. These are also kind of dirty, so again, don't judge me, but purely wireframe glasses because they're the only ones that are light enough that I don't get a headache from them. And so I've had to switch to more often I'll wear my over the ear headphones sometimes for something like Valorant, where like sounds are really important. But just because I sit and work at my computer for like 6 hours at a time, 3 times a week, not to mention the like behind the scenes work that I do on the off days and the gaming I like to do with my friends, like I am at my PC a lot, honestly, more than is probably healthy, but it is what it is. And wearing those over the head headphones that much was starting to give me um regular headaches, and so then I would never have my glasses on. Or not my glasses, my headphones on, like when I was streaming and stuff. And I didn't like that because then I couldn't hear like the games, the alerts. And it's just not as immersive to play games with no audio. Um, so I recently got myself some regular old cheap earbuds to wear. These sometimes annoy me because I don't like the inner, like, it's such a balancing act. I think the best thing for me is switching back and forth because these also sometimes irritate me by being in my ear because I was prone to ear infections when I was young. But in general, it's been better. Big glasses works overnight, putting dust and they're never clean ever. Those were pretty crusty. I should clean them off. I have like, this is kind of, we have new friends here, and I feel like this is a little gross, but TMI, but you know, whatever. Not that deep. I'm making it sound worse than it is, but I have really bushy eyebrows. Always have. Never minded them, so I never was one to like. I'm not big on like too much like body maintenance. I just want to be clean. I get my hair cut, but like I don't really get my nails done. Some of that's just like financially wise. It's not always by choice, but so I've never like been one to like pluck or thread or wax my eyebrows. So I have like bushy eyebrows and they always leave a little bit of like residue at the top corners of all of my glasses. So then I feel like my glasses are always a little bit dirty. I feel like I have to clean them quite often because of my eyebrows. I promise I wash my eyebrows every single day, but just is what it is, I guess. My frames are like the smallest, lightest frame without going into kids, which are the arms are too short for me. The frame size is like a 47 mm, and I had to special order them. And the frame is almost non existent in all metal, so I can snap them when I lay down. Yeah, I get you. I get you. And the noise canceling feels like a constant pressure in my head. It's a fine line between comforting and overstimulating. Yeah. Also, I had to turn the noise canceling head part of my headphones off actually. Um, Not because I didn't like it per se for me, but with my headphones, and I don't know if it's just the brand, if these are like not the best or what, but I often get on my computer while my hair is still wet. Um, I used to be a shower every day type of person. I haven't been as much lately. I've been more of like an every other day, every 2 days kind of vibe. But I will often get on my computer, my hair will still be wet because I have really thick hair. Um, and because I have really thick hair, it just takes like half the day to dry, frankly, unless I were to use a blow dryer. And I hate the auditory, and it's hard for me with my chronic pain to like hold up a hair dryer, so it's just like not my thing. And for some reason, with the noise canceling on, if my headphones got a smidge damp, like from um, my hair, they would crackle. But even like the same thing, if I wear my headphones with my hair slightly damp, without the noise canceling on, they won't do the crackle. So which I never really understood, but mm. People always ask my eyebrow routine because I have thick but nice eyebrows. I guess, and I do literally nothing to them but shave the middle when they get too long, real. I was always made fun of for my eyebrows when I was younger, which is funny because I feel like my eyebrows are not even that thick, to be honest. I think they're thicker than the average person's, but very. I think a lot of people would actually want to have thicker eyebrows now, with like that being more trendy or whatever. But I remember posting a more close up picture of myself to my Instagram once when I was younger, and someone being like, "You have a unibrow, you need to shave your eyebrows." I'm like, I really don't care. I don't care. Because the thick eyebrows also come with thick hair on my head, which I like. So it's fine. Plus, my dad is like almost 60 now, probably. I don't know, I'm bad at math. And he still has like a very beautiful, luscious amount of hair. And I think that gives me good luck for my future to also have thick, luscious hair. I have no idea why your message got pulled, Allison. You didn't say anything wrong. Not even one of our little, like, hey, this is a slightly ableist word, so don't say, like, no idea why. They marked the word oblivion, but as far as I know, there's nothing wrong with that word, so. Strange. Enjoy your lurk, pal, no worries. A lot of people plucked and waxed their eyebrows into oblivion, and now they aren't able to grow fuller brows, yeah. I know in like my mom's generation, in chunks of time when I was younger, like the really thin eyebrows were popular. And I've seen some people bringing them back. It's always like phases with what people want with their eyebrows. I just think if I changed my eyebrows, I think I'd feel like I look weird because I've been looking at my face with these eyebrows for my whole life. I think it would give me weird, like body dysmorphia, kind of, but for my face, if they looked different. I'm so used to them now. Plus, waxing, like plucking hurts. I have to pluck sometimes because I have PCOS and I get these little, um, I get like these 4 or 5 little chin hairs. And personally, I actually like facial hair even on, um, like AFAB or more feminine people. I know a lot of people with PCOS even have like full beards, and I would eat that up if I had that. I know that that's weird to some people, but it's a gender thing for me. I would totally vibe with facial hair. I don't know if I'd like the sensory aspect of it, but the look of it is a vibe to me. But I plucked those because I literally only get 5. And that's like not enough to be useful to me in any way. And even just plucking those is painful. So I can't imagine plucking at my eyebrows too extensively would be something that I would enjoy by any means. And as a chronically ill patient who spends a lot of time in doctor's offices doing procedures on my body that I don't like, that don't feel good, I don't really want to do that for more for beauty standard purposes, frankly. Thank you for the hydrate, by the way. I pluck my random hairs simply because it isn't a full beard or mustache. I would love to have a full mustache. See, my people. I always think people think that's weird as someone who's much more of a feminine presentation, but honestly, some of my biggest gender envy comes from seeing folks who have a pretty feminine, like they wear like a lot of makeup, they might have like longer hair, um, and then they have like a full, beautiful, luscious beard. I'm like, oh, I eat it up. Toasty makes fun of me because I'm a lesbian, but you know, I can aesthetically appreciate a man sometimes, and they make fun of me because whenever I say that and I point out a guy that I'm like, oh, wait, I wouldn't date them, but like, I appreciate, it's always somebody with a really nice, well kept beard, and they're like, I think you just might want to be them. I'm like, shush, okay? Hush now. You don't have to expose me like this. Speaking of, I should figure out what we want to have for lunch. Toasty, it's like 2:30 and we said we were going to stop trying to have lunch so late at 2. You would rock the facial hair. I can just imagine you putting flour. I mean, you all know I do often put if you can remember, I always have my Coral Island character have the flower facial beard, and then I even have that for Linus sometimes. I love a good uh facial beard with some flowers in it. It's so cute. I just have such gender envy for people who you like look at them and they have a level of androgyny where you literally wouldn't know what their gender is without asking them. I think that's so fun. I think it's so, so fun. But I don't have. And you know what's tragic is I have PCOS, which is the condition that leads, like, if you see an AFAB person out there, if they aren't purposefully doing it, if they're doing it obviously through like tea or something, like that's a whole different ball game. Which also is a vibe, but just different. And like tragic, I have PCOS, which is the condition that is most likely to be had by someone who um is AFAB and has a beard naturally, but then I didn't get that part. And I'm like, I know so many people who have it and they don't want it. Can I have it? Can we trade? I just have the cysts and terrible periods part and hormone problems. Can I have the fun facial hair if I have to deal with all that too? Por favor. Please. Dinner prep, no worries, Milam. Take care. We'll see you in a little bit. There's this one guy I see sometimes who calls himself the result of a dwarf and an elf having a little baby, long hair, well trimmed beard. Don't think I've ever seen him inside, and he's stunning. Yes. I saw someone recently who had that kind of aesthetic I was describing with like the makeup and the long hair, whatever, and then they had like the really full, beautiful facial hair. And they also had like a really cute set of piercings, and it set me on a whole um craving to have piercings randomly that I've never desired in my life before. I was like, wait, this human is actually so beautiful that I now actually kind of want to imitate this piercing set. Okay. It's like the double nostril piercing, so just like the little studs on both sides. And then they had like a little chain to connect them. I know I've talked about this before. They have the little chain to connect them. And then they had a really cute little stud. Um, Not a stud actually, because it's bigger than that, but like a little accent piece in the center right above their lip. And the whole set together was just like, and I was like, you know what? I've never really been a piercing guy myself, but I do kind of like that compared to like getting my hair dyed, for example, it lasts like potentially permanently. Hi, Mary, welcome in. No worries, friend. You can join us anytime. I hope you're doing good. Um, and what was I saying? The piercing set. Oh, I've never been a piercing person really, but I like the idea that compared to like getting my hair dyed, because I've been on a little bit of a weird journey right now because I've been like a little insecure because I have like nothing. I usually like dye my hair like rainbow colors all the time and it would make me feel good, but recently I told you all that I had like a little spot in the front because I have a middle part that was like losing too much hair and I could tell it was like thinning a little, which is weird for me because I have really thick hair. And it kind of made me like a little insecure, so I stopped dyeing my hair because I had a money piece specifically, and so I think the reason that the thinning happened, I'm gonna turn my light up again a little bit. The shadows are shadowing. Um, is because I was bleaching the same strip of hair over and over again to have the money piece. So I think that's why it kind of caused a problem, not necessarily because I was dyeing my hair in general. So I stopped doing that, but I haven't felt as like me. So I've been thinking like maybe if I got some piercings, it could be a fun way to customize the avatar, as I like to say, without dyeing the hair. I saw a meme that was once like, PCOS, you mean free HRT? Real. But then if you have PCOS and you have doctors who don't understand that you're trans, they're like constantly trying to, they're like, I gotta bring your hormones back to the other way. And I'm like, please, I don't want that actually. But like, I don't know you well enough to be confident to tell you that. Hi, Transcript, welcome on in. Thank you for those happy flaps, friends. Caravanseral, welcome in. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Welcome, welcome. I hope everyone's having a good day. We're just doing a little paint by number and yap sesh today, which has been lovely so far. I hope you all are also enjoying. I think I have another Junie hair in my paint, though. Juniper. Alright, well, I'll have to deal with that when the time comes. Rainbow piercings would be fun. I feel like I would be like a gold piercing guy myself. My glasses are gold, and I always go for gold glasses, so I feel like that would fit the vibe. I would also love to get more tattoos, obviously, but I feel like tattoos are a bit more on the expensive side compared to piercings. Not that piercings are cheap per se, but they're more equivalent to a hair dye, I feel like, in price. Granted, I did most of my hair dye at home with Toasty, so more equivalent to a professional hair dye, I should say. I'm kind of nervous as to whether or not I will heal okay with piercings though, as someone who hasn't really had any. Cuz I have my ears pierced and those always close up. But I don't think they're a great judgment, I guess, because they were done like the incorrect way by the Claire's people with the piercing gun. And then also because I didn't have like nice jewelry, like jewelry that is like good quality, they were constantly causing me problems. So then I would take them out. And I think if you have like a nicer piercing done properly, then with like a nicer piece in that's better quality metal and stuff, then I wouldn't take it out and then it probably wouldn't close. But I don't know. You know, my body's weird with chronic illness stuff. So I'm like, it would be like my body to give me trouble with healing. So I'll have to take it slow and see how it goes. Thank you, Transcript. Thank you, thank you. You like silver jewelry? I feel like everybody's different with that. I don't really know if I like look better with either. I just prefer gold. Hi, Fumelina, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. I don't think it's fair to judge those because I got them. Yeah, you also got them pierced. Yeah, same brain cell. Looks stinky on my skin tone. I'm also a good guy. Fair enough. Has stats on how many people they've stabbed. I think they still do it, despite the fact that we, as a society, have all agreed that it's like not very good. Which is kind of wild. I messaged Toasty about lunch. I was like, my love, it's like 2:30. We haven't eaten lunch yet. Hello, are you here? And they were like, I'm so sorry, I hyper focused. Like it's okay. Real as heck. I think we're just gonna have leftovers for lunch anyways, so should be easy going. Oh, thank you. Are we submitting this duck for the duck stamp competition? There is literally no way that I would ever make it in with this. You're funny though. It is a gorgeous duck. I do like it, Picasso. Also, Hack Cat Lover, welcome on in. think the only requirement is that it's a duck. I think the fact that it's a paint by number, therefore not my art, would unfortunately disqualify him. If I painted this same thing, but I did it by hand, you could probably. I don't think I'd win, but that's a hard competition, you know. The talent is next level. I'm kind of impressed that Junie didn't bother Toasty before now. I'm impressed that she let you work that late.
Me too.
Honestly.
Did you have a good lunch this morning or breakfast this morning?
I'm assuming she must have had a good breakfast this morning, otherwise she'd be. Like, I was hungry before she was, and that's always.
Yeah.
And now that I've thought about it, now I'm starving, which is very Junie coded. Also very neurodivergent coded, though. A lot of us are like that. I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry. I'm starving, actually.
I'll see my leftovers for lunch.
Yeah, I think that's good. And plus, it's easier.
We got the paint by number at Michael's.
True.
Cat lover was that? Did you tell cat lover if we went into a cat lover that was stylized like that in Valorant?
I did.
Yep.
Oh, Junie, you can't be on the desk right now, baby.
I'll be the demon.
I did. It wasn't them, but I did tell them about
Cat lover, you're being impersonated then.
I think there just might be more than one person who loves cats.
But the way that that's spelled and the numbers after, that's
I don't think it was the same numbers.
sus. Anyway, I have a couple of pals of Alice tonight as well.
Yeah, I saw that. I joined too.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I got all of these at Michael's actually. They have a good number of paint by numbers. They also have quite a few of the diamond painting if you like those. They have felt things and they're all like $10. Which I know is not nothing, but it's pretty reasonable for an activity that gives you that amount of like entertainment. Problem I have with this sometimes is that I stop in the middle of a section and I don't even realize that I stopped in the middle of a section, and then later I'm like, so I've covered the number. What is this supposed to be? There is like a bigger print of this that you get with it that you can reference if you need to, but I'm usually just a hooligan, kind of color it whatever works at that moment. I'm very loosey-goosey with the paint by number rules because I feel there are none. A very cute retro sunset set from them. Yes. Toasty and I did a set of trees that like you paint and then you like put together. That was really fun because it felt like we were working on a project simultaneously. We have those up on our wall. We did those when we were back in Chicago. And then we went through a big gem painting phase, but we kind of like I had to learn that I don't do so good with the paint by numbers and gem painting ones that are like too big. I get distracted too easily and then like move on to the next thing as I get bored or whatever. So this is about as big as I feel like I can go. And the gem ones that we were doing were like 4 times this size. They were huge. And we were working on them together for the most part, to be fair, but I think that's why there's a couple unfinished ones hiding away in my house because they're too big. Too much of a commitment. Yeah, they both turned out really good. I'll take a picture of it sometime for y'all. maybe while I'm on my break. Toasty always likes to say that mine is better, but I think they're both lovely, honestly. I like them both. They don't match up perfectly, even though they were supposed to be a set like that, though, which kind of confuses me. They like match up in certain areas and not others. So that's an interesting feature, but all right, in theory, I think, oh, no, here's one. Okay, I think I got them. All right, chat room. I am going to do a poll for y'all. It's about that time that if we want to switch into games, it's probably time to do that. I'm going to put a poll. It's going to be options of some games we could play after I get back from my lunch break. I'll also include an option to keep painting because I wouldn't mind continuing to paint, but I don't feel like I need to. So I'm happy no matter what. So you pick what you like. Let me set up the poll though. Need my keyboard. Chaos. Chaos. In the studio. I have to do this before I leave because I always set up polls and then I leave and then um I come back and I don't know what the answer was. And I have to trust chat as to what they say it was. Like, let me learn from my mistakes. I know. Every time I close them, they just like open again. Like, what the heck? Mhm. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to include in the poll. I have one slot left. I know, right? I know, and I'm always trying to avoid that with my paint by numbers. The other day, I came back after a few hours of being away because I just kind of left a setup here. And I telling you, I could have sworn I closed it and I came back and it was open. And I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be dried out, but it wasn't. A paint that I left open the other day. One of these little. I think like I hadn't like clicked it. And so I think it like popped back open.
Are you thinking of your options?
Yes, I'm trying to think if I want to use this last option or not. I thought about that, but okay.
Candace Morning Figaro gets the first of the two breakfast automatic feeders goes off, he gets the first one first. But he runs.
Okay, chat room, the poll is up for what you want to do for the rest of stream. So if you want to get your vote in there, get them in. You have 3 minutos. Hi, Aloe. Welcome in. Do you have time to like eat lunch down here?
If you want.
No, I figured I'd take a little break once the poll's done.
Mm-hmm. Make sure you see the results of the poll.
Yes, I know. I'm bad at that. Chat room, you gotta vote on the poll so I know what you want to play. There is Keep Painting the Duck, Swampy Stardew Valley Expanded, More Little Witch in the Woods, some Animal Crossing time, and Fields of Mystria on the option list.
Ooh.
Knowing these hooligans, they're gonna tie it on me.
We do like doing that sometimes.
I know. Get your votes in. Feel like person on the side of the street holding a sign when I have like a giveaway or a poll on because I have to keep saying so that in case someone didn't hear it. Let me do a little. There we go. Get your votes in, chat room. Right now it's tied, but it's all pretty close, so your votes could matter. And I did allow 25,000 channel points to sway extra votes for any hooligans who are holding on to a large number of channel points. You got about a minute left. Get the votes in. Did you warm that up in there?
Mm-hmm. I just checked on the bottom. It has a little microwave saves in.
You just bring it into the dining room. It's probably where we'll go.
I want to go.
I think he'll be okay. Closed.
You have way too much food.
I have too much on my desk for you to be trying to put it on my desk.
Too much bacon.
Ooh, Swampy Stardew is sneaking up. Oh, it's a fight between Swampy Stardew and it's gonna be last second. Animal Crossing and Swampy Stardew are beefing. I feel like it's gonna be a last minute endeavor. Hi, Marcus. I'm doing good. How are you? Hooligan recon has its costs. Oh gosh. Somebody's using channel points and beefing between Animal Crossing and Stardew, I can tell. It was Alyssa, at least for the Animal Crossing. I don't know who was doing it for Stardew. Cute. Y'all are cute. Okay. Alright, that sounds good. So I am going to... It was you for Stardew. Cute. I'm going to, my secret is out. Clean up. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to have some lunch. So it's going to take me a second. So I will leave you some words on stream for some enrichment.